So in today's video, we're going to talk about the Potm Vinicius Jr. that is leaked to come out on Friday. So just before the video does start, a quick little ad on a trading service I offer over on Twitch for the cheapest trading guides out there for just £4, €4, all free with Amazon Prime. You'll receive daily trading and investing guides covering PlayStation, Xbox and PC with an array of methods covering all budgets. And I've been trading for over 10 years, making over 100 million in multiple different FIFAs. And now for the last 4 years, I've made 10 million coins in just the first month. So the first one we look into is when is going to be the release of this card. Well, we can look at the last few POTMs to find this. We can see that Lewandowski was released on the 1st of March, which was a Friday. We can see that Kevin Rodriguez was released on the 2nd of February, which was a Friday. And we can see Artem Dobovic, who was released on the 5th of January, which was a Friday. So this Friday, we have got ourselves the 29th. So I guess the controversial thing about that is that it's not actually as of the new month. But because it's been leaked, I'd be quite certain that it'll be released, this up and coming Friday, because very rarely do you go and see POTMs getting leaked and then released 2 weeks later. I think the only one we see that happen with is the Ligue 1, because the Ligue 1 has just a slightly different release time. So we do expect to go and see this Vinicius Jr. release this Friday. So let's go through some of these investments. So one thing I would like to say about the Potm Vinicius Jr. is it's been very hit and miss as of recently with the expensive SBCs. So for example, if we go and grab someone like De Bruyne, I mean De Bruyne did go out of packs, but we basically haven't seen them fly in price like we did here for absolutely ages. And that's just because the SBCs, although we've had expensive ones, they haven't been very well demanded. And then on top of that, we've also had a massive increase in the amount of SBC fodder we've had. So for example, obviously we've had FUT Fancies recently that increased the amount of SBC fodder. We've got a lot of birthday cards that are SBC fodder, and generally even informs that are high rated that are SBC fodder. So as of recently, high rated fodder has not done very well for SBCs because it's not been demanded. Up until this Friday. This Friday we saw a decent rebound on some individual pieces of SBC fodder. For example, we saw Candrava go from 30 and he's already up to 36. We see Lavela, she went from 30k and she's up to 36. And again, that'll be the trend with the rest of the 90s. We can also go and grab stuff slightly higher rated. We can look at the Aspas, and on the Friday he went from 38 and he's up to 34k right now. And then we can also see that Harry Kane before Friday was 74 and now he's up to 84. So we can see as of recently some of the high rated fodder has risen, despite it not doing well for, it's risen because of the Tuchemani-Ribery combo we got on Friday, but it didn't rise for, what was it? Who do you think would have been well demanded? It didn't rise for any of those big icon SBCs, didn't rise for the Yashin, didn't rise for the Jairzinho, didn't rise for some of the top end FUT birthday cards. So do be aware that at the moment high rate fodder is a bit of a hit and miss. So I wouldn't say it's the most guaranteed profit in the world, but nonetheless we'll still cover some of the investment. So the Vinicius Jr. card in reality shouldn't actually be a 93 because EA normally run progression from performance-based special cards. Now yes, a Team of the Year is a performance-based special card, but it isn't a Team of the Week, a Team of the Group stage, a run-of-the-mill sort of. Those sort of performance-based special cards is what they're kind of run on. So he's not actually likely to be a 93, he's likely to be a 91. But the reality is he's 5-star skills, he's 4-star weak fit. He'll probably be double play styled up at this point. So the card should be very, very highly demanded. So even though, again, I think people are really overselling what the POTM is likely to be because they think it will progress from these, and very rarely do POTMs progress from promo cards. It's normally performance-based special cards that are released. So again, he's likely to be a 91, but there's still loads of money on it. So because he's likely to be 91 rated, they'll probably release him about 1.5 million, which means that some of the most recently released SBCs are a really good sort of example of what should go up. So for example, we got Ribery, who's 2 million coins, and then we got the Tuchemani, who is 1.7 million. So I think these are a little bit more expensive than what Vinicius Jr. is. But what I would do is I'd use to see, okay, what went up for these SBCs to then go and make our Vinicius Jr. investments. So one slightly clever thing that I wanted to do was actually invest in fodder that was re-released promo cards, because the idea is because they're re-released promo cards, this week they're flooded, but next week they're out of packs, and they'll be good investments. And I thought, wow, do you know what? That Dabina, that could be a nice investment. The Martra, that could be a nice investment. Maybe even Riquelme might be a nice investment. But annoyingly enough, EA decided that they wanted to go and up all the price ranges before re-releasing them. So for example, Martra had literally been going for 73k, And then before re-releasing her, they upped her price range to 100k. And they did this for all of them. So again, I thought, oh, well, you know, Dabina will be a good investment. Again, nice 89 rated, nice high rated fodder. And then again, we go look at Dabina. And before Dabina was in pack, she was a 34k. But now they upped her price range to 175, which is just, it's just absolutely crazy. I mean, I presume she was probably about that price when she was initially released. Maybe that's their sort of logic. I mean, there you go. That is literally their logic. We can see right there, she wasn't selling 175. So for some reason, they've re-released promo cards. And then part of this promo, which is really cool, they've re-released the price ranges. So, yeah, no, that would have been original investment out the window. But, yeah, thanks, EA. Some of the best performing players were actually, this Friday for the Ribery and the Tuchemeni, were actually the promo cards that were fodder. Because if we go and look at the likes of Courtois went from 36 to 39. But if we go and look at someone like Pajor, she went from 30 to 36. So the Courtois only went up 3k, whereas the Pajor is up like 7k a piece. Now obviously this is because they are cheaper than the going rate of SBC fodder. But yeah, basically it's a nice little trend because obviously these cards are out of packs and therefore, you know, can't be supplied anymore. And they should, in theory, keep rising and rising and rising and outperform gold fodder. As a result, we've got two sort of cards we're going to go into. We've got one, we're going to be going into the FUT birthday cards that are SBC fodder. And two, we're going to be going into the FUT fantasy cards that, when upgraded on the Wednesday, are going to become SBC fodder. So we've chosen what sort of fodder we're going to go and invest in. Now we need to decide on the ratings. And again, what we're going to do is we're going to use Friday's rises to simulate what's going to happen with Vinicius Jr. So starting off with 87s, were 87s high enough to rise? Well, you can see right here on Friday they were 12k, and then the SBC came out and they went down to 12k. So 87s are too low rated. We now move on to 88s, and before the SBC came out, they were around about 16k. Now they did go up to 18k, but now because they're back down to 16k, I don't think that's a very good trend in comparison to some of the others. So 88s we saw did rise with the SBCs, but they didn't hold, which means we don't really want to invest in them. Which then takes us on to 89s, and this is where we start seeing really nice positive trends. We can see that before the SBC came out, Milinkovic-Savic was 22k. And then we can see what he did is he rose up there to 26k, and he's continued rising to 27k, therefore demonstrating a better sort of trend than we did with the 88 at Razabal, meaning 89s is going to be the minimum rating we're going to invest in. And the return on investment on these cards was about 20%, which was pretty decent. We now move to 90 rateds, and we can see that Pajor went from 30k all the way up there to 37k, meaning we saw around about a 23-24% return on investment, making them a better investment than the 89s. We then head to the 91s, and we can see that 91 rated Aspas went from 39k up there to 44k. So went around about 5k, meaning he didn't quite succeed more than a 20% rise. So again, he rose, but not as good as the 88s or the 89s. We then head to 92s, which on Friday just went down in price because I think they're not very good value for money compared to 93s. And finally, we head to the only 93 that is base fodder. And yeah, Harry Kane went from 68k and he's currently up to 75k, so again, only around about a 10% rise, so not very efficient. And just as an observation, I'm just going to load up how the informs did. We can see right there, no positive movement on 89 rated informs. We can see right here that we did see Oshman go up, but I believe maybe it was a bit of Evo hype. I mean, he's practically the same price he was before the SBC came out. And finally, 91 Benzema, again, we saw no positive return. So there's no reason to go and buy inform fodder over buying just base fodder. Selected what sort of players we're going to go and buy. We selected what sort of ratings we're going to go and buy. But the question is, when are we going to go and buy them? So the 89s, Milinkovic-Savic was cheapest Thursday after Division Rival Awards all the way through to actually after 6 PM content, which is interesting. Rod, again, 89 red fodder was cheapest everywhere from after Division Rival Awards all the way up until... Again, kind of you had till Friday in all fairness. Pajor was the cheapest the day before Division Rival Awards, but then, yeah, again, after Division Rival Awards dropped her. She was cheap, I mean, there isn't too much in it, but she was actually cheaper after marquee matchups, and then cheap all the way through to Friday. And finally, Ravella, again, cheapest after marquee matchups all the way through to Friday. So I'd basically say after Division Rival Awards / after marquee matchups is when we'd look at buying these cards. I don't think there'll be that much of a difference between a little bit after Division Rival Awards to a little bit after marquee matchups. So with the FUT birthday cards, I'm going to look at buying. With the 89s, we've got Jordi Alba and Dan Juma. And then regarding the 90s, we do need price range updates and them to go down to about 35, 36k. So we've got Swanson, who I think is unlikely to do that. But the ones a little bit more likely, we've got Guerreiro, who's literally been sitting at min price for How long has she been sitting at min price? Nearly 24 hours she's already been sitting at min price, so again, she'd have to go down to 36k. The FUT Fancy cards you can go and buy right now, because even though, again, the FUT Fancies were less than the going rate of fodder, she's, again, going up to an 89 this Wednesday, and she's about 5-6k less than 89, so she's already a good investment. So Pasquera, already a really nice investment, coming in at 31k, going up to a 90 rated, which means, again, she is going to be significantly cheaper than the 90 rated, yet should still go up on the Friday with Vinicius Jr. And in regards to selling these cards, you're going to want to make sure you sell them before 6 PM on Friday. So this SBC, I think, comes around about 1 PM to 3 PM. You need to sell before 6 PM because the promo we're getting this Friday normally absolutely decimates fodder. So, again, if the players don't go up, don't try and be stubborn and not sell them, because the promo we get after supplies really high rated fodder for really cheap. For example, here's like Miroslav Klose came off the bat and he was 97k for an 80 for a 93. We can see that we got this Lam, and again, this Lam become SBC. He was down to 93k after 2 days, which again I understand is above going rate this year, but you know, it's all in relation to the year. And what it did is it just went and crashed fodder, because they basically released loads of high rate players, but they gave them very low pack or very high packs to play. So yeah, do make sure to sell these players before 6 PM, otherwise you are likely to get burned. And that is what we have regarding fodder. Now obviously the gold fodder did go up as well for 89s and 90s. So you can go and buy that and try and win them on good bids in the morning of division rivals and aftermarket matchups. But if you want the most efficient investments, in my opinion, you're looking at the FUT Fancies and the FUT Birthdays. Thank you very much for watching today's video, and we'll see you guys tomorrow with a brand new video.